drafted Matt Ryan with the 3rd overall pick. That was in 2008. But Ryan has never been able to replace Vic in terms of popularity in the city of Atlanta. But that could all change soon, as Matty Ice has been on a roll leading up to his first Super Bowl appearance with 7 pass TDs with 0 interceptions this postseason. The 6 previous quarterbacks to throw at least that many touchdown passes without an INT in a postseason all won the Super Bowl that year and won MVP in the game. Max, with a win, will Ryan finally escape Vic's shadow?
Yes, with a win, he will. With a win, you win a Super Bowl as a great quarterback having a great season. Yes, you will escape the shadow of your predecessor who didn't. However, he has to win because Vic produced a visceral reaction in people, not just in Atlanta, but especially in Atlanta. When you watched Michael Vick, and I remember Merrill Hodge and others, and I thought the same thing, the game against Minnesota where he accelerated and the 2 defenders knocked each other out, you thought maybe you were watching the evolution of the quarterback, a guy who could somehow impose his physical attributes on football, which just doesn't happen from the quarterback position. You thought you were watching maybe a guy like the way I talk about Aaron Rodgers now, but could even be more than that. You didn't know how far it could go, and as it turned out, that was about as good as it got, and it was very good. But it produced in those watching a sense that you're watching something you've never seen before, and the sky's the limit in terms of the potential. So for Matt Ryan, who doesn't produce that kind of excitement, but obviously gets results, he's going to have to win a Super Bowl to overcome it.
Here's the deal. I don't think that it should take that. Would it require it? I'm not so sure anymore. Because of some of the things that we learned about Michael Vick, and you're talking to a friend and a fan of Michael Vick who's been on this show on several occasions. But the fact of the matter is that if we're being honest, he doesn't deserve to be mentioned in the same breath as Matt Ryan in terms of production. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Matt Ryan has thrown for over 4,000 yards on at least, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 occasions in his 9-year career in Atlanta. Michael Vick has never done that, ever. Matt Ryan has numerous seasons where he's completed better than 60% of his passes. Michael Vick did that twice. This is the second NFC Championship game, NFC Championship game that Matt Ryan was in, and the first Super Bowl for him. Michael Vick went to 1 and never went to the Super Bowl. And then when we look at it from a talent perspective, Michael Vick could run the football, obviously, significantly better than Matt Ryan. But that's it. Nothing else. And then when we look at things off the field, we look at a guy like Matt Ryan who put forth the due diligence. We have to remember that as much as we love Michael Vick, the person, and the way he's resuscitated his life and his career and just his own humanity, he's a wonderful person. This is a guy that openly admitted that he used to take the playbook and throw it into the trunk of his car. That wasn't, he didn't do any favors to Coach Mora at the time. He didn't do any favors to the Atlanta fan base. So what does that ultimately lend itself towards to? Michael Vick is the favorite and the prodigal son because he's electrifying and he's black in Atlanta, which is obviously a black haven. Back in the day when Michael Vick was playing, it made up more than 60% of the population. African-American community made up more than 60% of the population in Atlanta. White folks made up about 33%. It's been growing, rather. Gentrification has kicked in. It's going to continue to kick in even more. As a result, it will elevate the profile of Matt Ryan. But let's be clear. The popularity comes from Michael Vick being black, being electrifying as a runner, but certainly not, and his excitement personified, but certainly not in terms of his level of production. In terms of his production, he ain't on the same level as Matt Ryan. He just never has. I
agree, but at one point he captured our imagination. Of course, Chocolate City, the whole thing, I get it. Yeah. But at one point, of course, you can't get, that exists. But at one point, Michael Vick captured our imaginations in a way differently than Matt Ryan or many others, most others, have ever captured our imagination. The analogy I would use, who had a more distinguished career, Larry Holmes or Mike Tyson, as heavyweight champs? Larry Holmes. But Mike Tyson captured our imagination differently. He's the one who is remembered in popular culture. And I would say that, putting aside racial influences, an athlete who can capture our imagination with his athletic ability that just feels different from everyone else's, he doesn't need to be as accomplished as another guy to be remembered and to be celebrated.
I know we got to go, Max. I just don't find that to be the apt analogy because Larry Holmes was a champion like Mike Tyson. Michael Vick ain't on the same level as Matt Ryan as a quarterback.
Guys, we got to agree to disagree because we need time for this. Coming up, Stephen A. is going to break down the Charles Barkley, LeBron James beef in a whole new way. Final take. It's up next.